Can I get a round of applause for our live music in the back? Thank you, everybody, for coming. This is the 2024 Spring Celebration. It wasn't that long ago when a few of you would have come to Heidi and my house. We would have carried all the furniture out of the first floor. We would have figured out how to get you to park on the lawn or on the driveway. And then we would have cleared off most of the kitchen, thrown a bunch of food on it, and we would have crowded into the living room. Some of you would have gotten to meet our cats, Raleigh and Millie, who were very excited about guests. There would be signs all over the house which would say things like, please don't let the cats out, because they like to stay inside, and eagle food is just one of the things that happens if we're not careful with cats where we live. This event got a little large, and as some of you know, I had a long conversation with Dean Nelson Fisher last year and with Dr. Charlier, and it was suggested that it was time to bring this to a spot where there were more chairs. And I think that was probably incredibly wise. We're going to go ahead and get started now. And actually, for the very first time at a CLC event, I'm going to read our land acknowledgement statement before we get underway. Central Lakes College is committed to building an environment of respect, understanding, appreciation, and inclusion. Recognizing that we stand and work here today on indigenous lands of the Anishinaabe and Dakota nations, let this acknowledgement inspire thought, reflection, and restorative action towards positive change. As we get started, I'd like to recognize a few people who are with us today in the audience. Dr. Hera Charlier, she is here, our president of Central Lakes College. A shout out to our vice presidents, Kari Christensen, Cheryl Norman, and Nancy Paulson, and John Aga, who is here in a suit. Where'd you go, John? There he is. He's the guy with the suit. So go introduce yourself to John if you haven't already. Deans Ann Nelson Fisher, Paul Primesberger, and Mary Sam will also be joining us. We have a few online guests who will be here, including one of my very first students from 30 years ago, 1993. His name is Zadok Angel. He'll feature a little bit later on. And also retired Dean Martha Keene, who was here and responsible for helping make this program happen all those years ago. We also have a couple of partners here. We have Dr. Miriam Weber from Bemidji State University, as well as Dr. Jennifer Cavalli from St. Cloud State. A shout out to our partners at UMD, at the UM of Morris, as well as Mankato University. Those are folks who are creating homes for our honors program students when they're done here at CLC. There's a long list of people I also want to make sure that we don't forget, and that includes Jennifer and Will from Consolidated Food Services, and that is because I have been pestering them for the last month. Last year, we had a dessert that was on fire, and we couldn't do that this year. And so I've been pestering them to make a dessert which was equally as interesting. I don't believe we have done the fire thing. We have instead gone the other direction, and that will be arriving here at the very end of the event. I'd also like to give a shout out to the Performing Arts Center. Joey Zhao and Matt Hill has been just working like crazy to make sure that we are set up. It was just yesterday afternoon I got to meet Matt and spend a little time with him up on the ladder because that door was stuck open, and you can see what a marvelous job he did of getting that just like right back where it was supposed to. So thank you, Matt, for that. I also have a whole pile of Honors Composition 2 students here, and they are helping facilitate this to make sure that it goes as smoothly as possible. Elena, Emily, Danica, Reagan, Lily, Sienna, Ella, and Amanda's Jim. Amanda's Jim, that's just how we're going to go, Jim. And that's going to work just fine. Thank you for coming. Graphic design provided the programs and a lot of the marketing help. We have from the musicians in the back, Isabel, let me make this right, Tasha, Tron, Levi, and Kyle Brown have really been putting this together for us as well. Brent on videography. Brent and I were talking as we were starting the generator not that long ago that last year the generator ran out of gas right about now. We have just put fuel in it, so we are good to go for the day. In addition to that, the first time Brent and I were working together, he was sitting in the living room. It was the first year of the pandemic. He had 4 versions of Zoom running. Heidi and Brent were yelling at each other across the kitchen table, and I was trying to communicate some level of prestige and respect through a Zoom meeting that we didn't really know was happening. We did not cancel the spring celebration in that year. Instead, it just looked a little bit different. Maintenance was here to help put up the chairs. We have the ASL folks here, Adam and Tanya, and then Jeff Dirks from Horticulture put up the plants. We also have a whole pile of faculty, staff, admin, and even a few alumni. I'm really happy to see you. There you go, and some little alumni too, which is pretty awesome. And so thank you for coming and helping us celebrate. A couple other housekeeping items. There are no bathrooms here, so if that's something that's important, it's all the way back on the campus. That should be pretty fine. And this is the 11th spring celebration that we have hosted in one form or another. The first one was around our kitchen table. There were 5 people there. Bob Brecken made the hamburgers. They were not all the way cooked. He's not here today, so I can say that. Kari Christensen, risk management, not here, so that's just fine. Everyone lived. But obviously we've come a long ways in those 11 years. For those of you who are not familiar or haven't been to a spring celebration before, let me show you a little bit about what it's about. For a lot of us, it's about one of these. So we are the only program in the Minnesota state system that has a terminal award that ends in a certificate. In addition to that, we have been handing out medallions for the better part of 10 years, and we've been providing awards and recognition to students who've done incredible things for well over a decade. Because it's corny, and because I can, and I'm the coordinator, when you flip the medallion over, there's this saying on the back that of course is poetry, and of course Jeff and I talk about it all the time, but we historically start off with a reading of the medallion. And I'm just going to ask you all to humor me again. I think this is round number 12, and here we go. So we will have to do it more than once if we don't get it right. I'm just going to warn you. Here's what the back of the medallion says. Just repeat after me. The horizon leans forward, offering you space to place new steps of change here on the pulse of this fine day. You may have the courage to look up and out and upon me, the rock, the river, the tree, your country. Thank you. May is always a tricky time for faculty. We are celebrating with you all of those lessons that we have tried to put together, and at the same time, we are a little sad to see you go. This event is about recognizing the things you have accomplished while you were here and trying to identify and name the things that are different and will be part of your legacy, and those things that we get to live with now as part of that inheritance. From the program, you'll notice that we have a couple of activities. The first one is called Bugs and Staples. We'll get to Bugs and Staples in a minute, but I'm going to tell you first about the 2 students who came up with this idea so that you don't think it was all mine. Kiara and I had a conversation back in January, and I gave her a whole pile of options for honors leadership, and she picked the hardest one. And I thought, oh, okay. Kylie dropped me an email last fall, and she said, you know, I bet we can make honors leadership better. Like, it was okay, but I bet we can make it better. And well, let's get together and talk about that. And Kylie, where'd you go? What, 42 items on the list? Honors leadership will be better, I promise. They wanted to make sure, however, as participants and family and friends, that you got to experience a little bit about how an honors program feels, what it feels like to be in a class. And so I've asked all of the graduates today to come up with a story that they will take with them from Central Lakes College. And because we only have a few minutes, we will not have enough time for them all to tell us their stories. but you will get to hear stories from some of them. Everyone will get to hear a couple stories. The name tags work a little like this. You have a number on your name tag, and in a minute I'll call up a few of our, actually all of our graduates, and they will be in groups, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And we will put groups around this just like at C223. And for those of you in the audience, all I need you to do is to find the right number. You may not be with someone that you came in with, but I assure you you're in for a treat because the stories that the students will be telling or sharing, I think are worth the time. So if you are a graduate of the honors program, could you please come up to the front here? And if you are not, just take a look at that name tag because in a minute I'm going to show you what you need to do. So all the honors program graduates, come up to the front. I'm going to get off the microphone for a second. So, honors program students, go ahead and introduce yourself and make sure that the people can hear you. It's going to be a little loud, but that's going to be just fine. I will give you a 3-minute timer, which will return back to our seats. That is 3 minutes, ladies and gentlemen. Please make sure that you have switched if you haven't already. And that is another 3 minutes. If you have, oh gosh, there's the alarm. If you have not had a chance to tell the story, please do so now. We'll come back to the larger group in a couple of minutes, and then we will wrap up to the next part. Thank you. I'm afraid you'll have to wrap up the stories at this point. If you can return back to your seats, thank you for playing along. Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for making this experience a little more live. There were so many stories to share here that it would be hard for all of them to, for everyone to hear all the stories. But we do have the two people who created this idea, who wanted to share some of their experiences, and that is how we ended up with the title in the program, Bugs and Staples. So to say a little bit more about that, I'd like to introduce Chiara Laube and Tylee Golden Bordeaux, who will get us started with a story of a model.
Yes, hello everyone, I'm Chiara.
And I'm Tylee.
And like the other honors graduate stories you just heard, we were tasked with sharing with you a few of our memories.
I'm not sure if you are, I'm sure you are curious about the bugs and staples as titled in the pamphlet. So to start off, I began the honors program last semester, and within one of my first classes, I was told we would be eating bugs. It was a bold introduction that made me intrigued. That was the honors global studies. Throughout this class, I was able to attend the Nobel conference with my class. This is where I was given a chance to eat bugs and found a new taste for roasted crickets, along with an array of other insects.
The privilege of eating bugs, being a PSEO student here at CLC has been a blast. It's helped me get out of my comfort zone and experience different things I probably would not have been able to if I had stayed at the high school. One such experience was my trip to the legislature. I was asked as part of my honors leadership class to represent higher education to our Minnesota State Legislature, and I said, why not? So throughout that trip, I learned a lot of new things, like what a politician's life is like in one day, and there is a lot of talking. How to navigate formal conversations, that business casual is not in fact casual in the slightest, and do not steal chairs from the office building.
Not to give any ideas, but as I said earlier, I was able to attend the Nobel conference. And on my way to the Nobel conference, me and about 6 other people were sitting in a small CLC van. As we talked on the way there, many different topics came up, one of which Jen, who you'll hear from soon, and I were talking about existentialism and other philosophical themes. And I came up with the Free Thinkers Philosophy Club. During there, ideas began and the next steps in the van ride came up. During this time, I gained a crucial leadership skill along with follow through on the ideas. I participated in on-campus involvement, and through my club, I organized a public Narcan training along with an honors leadership class final, organized a food drive. With my classmates, we raised over 800 items to donate, ideas that became life skills through and helped with collaboration skills.
Speaking of skills, let me tell you one of the life lessons I learned here at CLC. Tylee gave you bugs, now I'm about to give you staples. I was sitting out in the hallway when Mrs. Tracy, the Spanish teacher, starts putting out her class projects on the board on the wall, and she was struggling with one of them, and I asked if she needed any help. She said yes, so I'm sitting there helping her put up the pictures on the board, and I find myself stapling the picture up there, and I hear myself say, ow, and I look down, and lo and behold, there's a staple sticking out of my thumb. Prior to this incident, it had never once occurred to me that a staple could go through my thumb. It could go through a huge stack of paper, just not my thumb. So I'd like a show of hands, actually. How many of you guys have heard of Untold Stories of the ER? Any? Okay, so there's quite a few. So the basics of the show is like wild ER stories. And one of the things you learn is that if you're ever stabbed with something, you do not pull the object out because that is how you bleed to death. So I am kind of in a mini panic mode because I have a staple sticking out of my thumb. And Tracy's looking at me, she's looking at my thumb, she's like, do you want me to take it out? And I'm like, I'm not sure that's a very good idea. Call it a blonde moment, but in my brain I'm still thinking, don't pull the object out or you will bleed to death. Long story short, Tracy pulled the staple out, I survived by some miracle. I did not bleed to death. I'm here with you all today. Moral of the story, if a teacher ever needs help, do not help them. It's probably a trap. They probably have a stapler in their back pocket. I am kidding. Always pay attention to what you are doing, or someone could end up getting hurt.
A memory of this year I like to share, which no staples were harmed in, is when I was in my pottery class. I was making, or more so attempting to make a handle for my mug. I asked my instructor, Casey, how much clay should I use? To this, I was told a plum size, leading me to look up the size of a plum. Also maybe a blonde moment, but not blonde. And fun fact, they can be as small as a cherry or as large as a hen's egg. I will admit, asking where on that scale, it was a bit embarrassing, and I never really got an answer, as Casey and the other students just laughed.
Like Tylee's last example, the best moments I've had at CLC never happen alone. Talking to random people by the pool tables, having the same conversation about Winnie the Pooh 5 times with the same person, and enjoying every moment of it. Being approached by a random guy asking if he could freestyle rap for us, which he actually did a very good job, and it was really cool. No matter who I'm surrounded by, what friend group I'm in, we always seem to have some of the greatest, most out-of-pocket conversations. Sometimes the teachers will even join in. The community of CLC is such a great joy to be a part of. You find some really great people that become like family by the end of the year. I may not know all of you honors graduates very well, but every interaction I've had with you, if I have had one, has been a good one, and I appreciate that and the community of CLC.
Fernando Pessoa became my favorite author my first year at CLC, and continues to be. He had once said, "To be great, be whole. Exclude nothing, be whole in everything." Today we gather to honor our achievements. Let us remember these words. We celebrate being honored this evening as we embrace the sense of wholeness of our endeavors. Our dedication, passion, and commitment have not only elevated ourselves, but to enrich the fabric of our community. In this spirit, Pessoa's wisdom, let us reflect on the interconnectedness of our actions and the ripple effect they create. Each honors student is not merely recognition of individual accomplishment, but a celebration of the collective efforts that enables greatness to flourish. It is a testament that the power of collaboration, support, and shared memories that this program encourages. As we stand on the threshold of future, let us continue to strive for wholeness in all that we do, to embrace diversity and recognition, the inherent value of every individual contribution. For this is the unity of purpose, that we find the true essence of greatness. Thank you.
Thank you, Kara and Tylee. 15 speakers ago, the president at the time said, "Gosh, why are we hiring people to come and speak at commencement when we have these amazing students who have a lot to say and who really know us?" So 15 speakers ago, that's exactly what we started doing. The honors program provides the commencement speaker for our events here next week. And that means we have to select from our graduates someone who has something to say and is willing to say it and is willing to work with Jeff Johnson and with me to make sure that we have a crafted response. It's not just because Jennifer was the first person who responded to the application. I think it was within minutes, or it was certainly not an hour when I sent it out. It's because she has a story that we believe is really, really important, both for the students here at Central Lakes College, but also for the people who are here to support them. So I'd like to introduce to you Jennifer Fryer, our commencement speaker for 2024. Come on up, Jennifer.
Lucky number 16. Thank you, Adam. This moment is a fever dream. we inhabit this fever dream together, an instant where we can be left in bewilderment, to be intrigued and a little unnerved. It challenges us to step into our next moments. I'm grateful for these next moments. Grateful to all who are here with me today. Grateful to my beautiful family who supported my vision to get a higher education. Grateful to this institution, Central Lakes College, and the faculty and staff who helped show me not only am I capable of an education, but worthy of one. I have discovered I have an intense passion for learning. Becoming an educated person is no small feat. There are no odds in your favor, no simple path set before you, no guarantees that your time or your money will be well spent. This journey is riddled with doubt and insecurity, but I invite you to see education as more than learning for career development. Choose education as a way to invest in yourself and in your possibilities. Choose education to navigate through this life with the ability to think critically and feel confident and informed in your beliefs. Choose education and seek learning that brings you joy and inspires you to continuously be curious about the world where we are all in. Community is what makes this journey possible. And in our CLC community, we share our collective trials and accomplishments. Our state college provides the resources necessary for success to contribute to our community. Let's build each other up with compassion and confidence and kindness. You all have inspired me to test my resilience as far as it has taken me, and inspired me to heights I could not have ever imagined. I found a new love for literature. I was inspired to volunteer. I attend every conference possible. I became an artist. I started public speaking. I became a leader. I could not have aspired to these heights without this community. I also could not do them without my family. I am forever in your favor. I am grateful for this community that I am not from, but that I have found and has endlessly been welcomed to. My final thought for you today is on the gift that you must cultivate for yourself and in your hearts: gratitude. Gratitude can often be the result of adversity and resilience. Gratitude for another day in the sun. Gratitude for the song that comes from the people that we love and the sound that is the symphony that is our lives. Gratitude for how challenging and triumphant your journey has been to get here, to this moment. Gratitude is the final ingredient for the end of this fever dream, what made us who we are today. It fueled that dream, fostered this community, and gives us all the vision to live and to live well. Thank you.
And I think Jennifer actually was more excited about it this year, or last spring than I was, and that's really hard to beat because I drink quite a lot of coffee in the mornings. But nonetheless, she would show up early and she always had something to share, and it was always inspirational. Thank you, Jennifer. So at this point, we would like to award the graduates who have earned either a leadership pin or a medallion with those awards. And that looks pretty simple. So for graduates, here are the instructions, and for family members, here are the instructions also. Because this is our graduation, it is our commencement, we can really run it any way that we want to, and that means you are invited to bring your family and your friends with you. We have, yes, good, we're getting it ready. Brent is getting it on the track. Dean Nelson Fisher, who will be handing out the award because the medallion is a special thing, and we have Kate Porter, the instructor for Honors Leadership, who will be helping. In a minute, that screen's going to change, and that's going to be my cue while Kate and Ann get set up. Oh, look at that. Perfect. It works. So if you aren't familiar with our leadership pin, it is the recognition of 6 credits in honors plus Honors Leadership, which is our boot camp for being a leader. If you are not familiar with the Honors Program Medallion, it is for those students who have earned 12 credits in Honors and a 3.25 GPA and Honors Leadership. At Central Lakes College, we also have a terminal award. It's called the Honors Program Certificate, and folks who earn their medallion are also eligible for that. There are rules about medallions. In particular, they're a little tricky, like you can't put it on yourself the first time, which is why Dean Nelson Fisher is here, and we're going to make that work as best we possibly can. Thank you, Anne. Our first student is Addison Gentry. Addison is bringing her friend, spouse, partner, Owen. Come on up, Addison. Multiple cameras. Because we have, I don't know, a thing for nostalgia, each graduate will get a, yeah, Reagan is going to wave, so everyone's looking at the right camera. We have a Polaroid camera, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, of course, that really is a Polaroid camera. And we also have an actual digital camera, which will provide really good photographs. For any of the graduates who would like the digital, you'll just send us an email and we'll make sure that we get it to you. And then Sienna is going to make sure that you get your Polaroid film by the end of this. Keep in mind, unlike the old Polaroid films that you kind of flip them back and forth, don't do that to these. They've upgraded. A round of applause for Addie. Thank you very much. And Brent. Next, we have Ali Rakuskus. And she is bringing with her Alicia Mart, her mom, and Greta Lepka, her grandmother. Oh. Yes, here she comes. Thank you, Ali. I want to point out in Ali's picture that I thought those were birds because I didn't have my glasses on when she sent them to me. They're actually butterflies. It's quite a stunning picture. Look at Reagan. Sienna takes her job super seriously. A round of applause for Ali. Thanks very much. Next is Amanda Whitcomb. She is the one here on the left, if you can see that. She is often found in the hallways raising all kinds of trouble. She is bringing with her Marisa Larson as a friend, and we will make sure that she gets her leadership pin, and Nelson Fisher has it. Oh, right. If you haven't reloaded a Polaroid, it takes some skill. There we go. Round of applause. Thank you, Amanda. It's like 1972 all over again. That's just the cover. All right, excellent. Next, can Elena, the one spelled with the E's, come on up? She is bringing with her Corbin and Emily as friends. Elena Sinai, come on up. This is her on the left. She's operating a typewriter there. Elena is also our Student Senate President-elect. Next, bringing her parents, Jeff and Becky, whom I've met, Ivy Matichek will be coming up. She is, you can barely, she's in the picture there, and you see her kind of on the right-hand side. I'm going to just point it out because it's a little hard to see. This is Ivy here. Congratulations, Ivy. Thanks, Jeff. Thanks, Becky. And you have met Jennifer Fryer already. Jennifer, come on up. It's time for the medallion. Yes, please come on up. I'm trying to read your name tag from here. Thank you, Jennifer. Congratulations. Next, someone who turned in an annotated bibliography to Honors Composition 2, which I think is publishable, and provided a final project which looked more like a master's thesis than a final project at the undergraduate level, Jody Kramer. Jody is bringing with her Isaac, Noah, and Gabe. Come on up, Jody. Jody's parents are also here, and Jody and Gabe both took Honors Composition 2 at the same time. They sat next to each other every single day, and I thought that was just beautiful to watch. So thank you, Jody and Gabe. Next, you have met her already, but please welcome Kiara Laube to the stage. She is bringing with her her grandparents, Paul and Dee, and her mom, Maria, and Max, Ben, and Sophia. Come on up. Thank you very much. Congratulations, Kiara. At the state capitol, this is Brent, can we go back? Kiara is here standing with one of the legislators. We had a meeting with this person, but we didn't have meetings with everyone. And Kiara was our absolute secret weapon. We just kind of like would kick open the door to the office, leave her in there, and then we just came back 15 minutes later, and everyone was all smiles. So it was just perfect. Next, Christopher Coop. Chris is bringing his parents, Kristen and Thomas, his grandmother, Pat, and girlfriend, Jocelyn. Come on up. Congratulations, Chris. Lila Collins is next, and with her she brings her parents, John and Amy, and her sister, Audrey. Come on up. Congratulations. Thank you very much. Lydia Olson is next. Lydia, here she comes. Welcome, Lydia Olson, to the stage. Thank you very much. Congratulations, Lydia. Racine Schomer is next, and she's bringing with her a sister to help support, and her name is Alyssa. Come on up. I should have brought some jokes for the reloading part, but I didn't. Thanks, Sienna. Good job. Congratulations, Racine. Thank you. You have met her once before, but please welcome Tylee Golden Bordeaux to the stage with her mom, Nikki Golden. Congratulations. Thanks, Tylee. And Zoe Dwyer, come on up. Zoe is bringing Daryl Dwyer. Where'd she go? There she is. Congratulations, Zoe. Thank you, Dean Nelson Fisher. Thank you, Kate. Thank you, photographers. If you are a graduate and you would like your picture, Lily's got it here, and you can find her afterwards. That would be just great. And we thought that was kind of a fun thing to do. While we are preparing for some art or some music, come on up, musicians. We'll get you ready. I want to take a moment to make sure that we are putting into context, or I am putting into context for you, this particular class, the class of 2024. We good for sound? Excellent. Good. Okay. So I'm gonna make them endure some a little bit more patience because I want to put this class 2024 into context. I think it's a privilege and part of my job as the honors program coordinator. So 30 years ago, I started in a classroom with 7th graders. Yeah, 13 and 14-year-olds, and I didn't even know necessarily it was a 7th grade position until I got the interview. And when I was ready and I thought I was prepared, I looked at my first few students in the face and I failed. It was not a good year. How bad was it? Oh, it was pretty bad. I was competing with a backhoe, which was 18 inches from the window because we were undergoing a renovation. I was competing with a whole pile of students I didn't know, and I spent most of my time counting down the minutes for each period. Zadok Angel, the student I introduced earlier, was one of the very first students I ever had. And I had gotten into education because I was pretty sure I was going to go out and save the world, right? I was going to push the boat of democracy so far out into the ocean it could never sink. And I was trying to wrestle with the idea that I was really performing poorly. I didn't know where to look. Zadok would stay after class and he would shuffle his papers, and about once a week he would say this: "You did pretty well today, Mr. Marcotte. Eric stayed in his seat almost the whole time. Thanks for trying." That was 7th period at Sealick Valley. Then he would shuffle the rest of his papers and he would walk out the door, and I would kind of collapse on one of the desks wondering, what was I doing? I was making this poor student's writing worse. I'd love to tell you that there was a Disney ending to that first year, that I don't know, I persevered and I made things better and I worked really hard and that every student I had went to Harvard. Every student got a sense of who he or she was. They had children, and now they're living in Los Angeles writing TV shows. That's actually what happened to Zadok. And I have no stake in that. Why Zadok Angel? I think that what I didn't know when I was starting to teach is who was rescuing whom. And I think this particular class, I have to share with you, is a class of people who, well, there are reminders. For those of us who just survived or experienced the pandemic, I'll share with you some secrets. A lot of us faculty, and a lot of us staff, and a lot of us administrators went to bed every night with a furrow between our eyes that was so deep that in the mornings we'd have to press it flat so it didn't look like we had been stressing out the whole time. We were filled with concern that our students had lost graduation. They had lost prom. They had lost the sense that there was a face beneath the mask. And of course we were doing the right thing. Of course we were doing our bit to protect our world. But let's not kid ourselves. There were sacrifices in doing the right thing. And I didn't know it. But 2 years ago when this class came to Central Lakes College, we were just this far out of the pandemic. And we didn't know it. But we needed a lot more help than we thought. I had switched over to what was possible because I thought if I threw more hours at a problem, it would get resolved. As the pandemic resolved, I forgot to change modes. And by the way, there are a few of us in here who also forgot to change modes. You're still working on what's possible, not what's sustainable. And sometimes we have to ask whether or not it was recognized, whether or not it was seen. Well, this honors class, they saw us. They recognized what we had done, and they decided they were going to commit to a community that was intentional, and they showed up. I kept trying to go small. There's this Brain Buster fundraiser event, and Dean Nelson Fisher and I talked, and I said, I'm just going to try to run 4 teams this year because, I don't know, I'm a little tired. We had 9 teams that year because every single student in Honors Composition 2 raised their hand. Students were in class early. They stayed in class late. They hung out in the hallways. They walked up and down, and they met people, and they said hello. And I wanted to those students say, thank you. We didn't really know it yet, but you were really a Zadok angel. We were trying to figure out if this thing was still going to work, and we were hurt. And I personally took an immense amount of courage from your showing up. You know, this human thing is tricky. I don't think it's terrible to be sad necessarily. For example, to the graduates, I'm going to miss you a lot. I'm a little sad today. But I think that's part of the human experience. I also don't think things like melancholy or anxiety even, are necessarily harmful. That's part of the human experience. I think all of those things become incredibly dangerous when they're married to loneliness, though. And I think for a while, some of us here at one of the finest institutions on planet Earth, and certainly the best place I've ever worked, I think we had gotten a little lonely. And it was the class of 2024 who showed up and showed up and showed up. And I'm incredibly grateful for that. I don't know how to say that any other way, except that I'd like the president to award me new powers today to establish a new degree, and the degree is going to be called this: Finders. I don't know what I would do with that, but I don't know what we would print it on, but I think the class of 2024 are finders. And I think the rest of us are the ones they found. And we're better off for it. I've asked the music department to put together that message in art. And I just want to make sure that we understand who the finders are and who are the found. And we're super lucky. Levi.
Check. Have you ever felt like nobody was there? Have you ever felt forgotten in the middle of nowhere? Have you ever felt like you could disappear? Like you could fall and no one would hear? So let that lonely feeling wash away. Maybe there's a reason to believe you'll be okay. 'Cause when you don't feel strong enough to stand, you can reach out your hand. And oh, someone will come running, and I know they'll take you home. Even when the dark comes crashing through, when you need a friend to carry you, and when you're broken on the ground, you will be found. So let the sun come streaming in, 'cause you'll reach up and you'll rise again. Lift your head and look around. You will be found. 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 Even when the dark comes crashing through, when you need a friend to carry you, when you're broken on the ground, you will be found. So let the sun come streaming in, 'cause you'll reach up and you'll rise again. Lift your head and look around. You will be found. You will be found. Out of the shadows, the morning is breaking, and all is new. All is new. It's filling up the empty, and suddenly I see that all is new. All is new. You are not alone. You are not alone. You are not alone. You are not alone. Even when the dark comes crashing through, when you need a friend to carry you, when you're broken on the ground, let the sun come streaming in, 'cause you'll reach up and you'll rise again if you only look around. Even when the dark comes crashing through, when you need someone to carry you,
The Finders, could you stand up? Anyone who's graduated from the honors program this year, I'd like to welcome you back on May 7th, 2025. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the graduating class of 2024. Thank you very much. I don't have the authority to make you all finders and to make us all found, but Dr. Charlier sure does. And she's going to wrap us up today. Dr. Charlier, come on up and wrap us up.
You do not need my authority. They're already finders. No question about it. It has been such a pleasure to spend the afternoon with you, and I can't thank you enough for being here. This day is always incredibly special to us. There's just power in this day. And it reminds me of how important it is that we celebrate these amazing students, finders, and the incredible people who are here to celebrate them and support them, family, friends, colleagues. And it's so important, I think, because we live in this hard world. It's complicated, it's fraught with challenge, and very few things are certain. But I think what we have to know, what we need certainty about, is that tomorrow will be better, that the future is brighter. And that's where these students come in, because they give us this deep, abiding hope as finders. We didn't even compare notes, I promise you. They give us hope. And when I think about what we do at this time of year, we celebrate accomplishment, right? You've heard tons of accomplishment in classes and outside classes, the impact that these students have made. And I've been thinking about what it is that really is that source of hope. Is it the accomplishment itself? And I'll tell you, I don't think it is. I think it's what comes before the accomplishment. I think it's the moment that you students and all people take a step toward a new idea, into a new program, into a new college, a new job, you move, you do something that you can't really calculate the risk, the outcome is not known, yet just because of the promise that it could be great, the world could be better, you take a step. And usually it's more like a leap, a giant leap. So you've taken incredible leaps, and the fact that our students were willing to do that, when you think of what it took after the pandemic to come back to school and be those students in the hallway saying hello and being very present, man, that is a leap. That's what gives me just incredible, incredible hope. This program is full of hope. There are two big reasons. One, we have this program. Many of us have been here for how many years, Adam? Number 15? 15 years we've had this program. We assume it's always been here. I'm here to tell you that honors programs like this are very uncommon across this nation. If we didn't have an honors program, nobody would blink an eye. They would just have no idea of what we've been missing. We would never be criticized. There's no reason for it to be here, except that our faculty, Bob Brecken, who's not here, we'll have to tell him that we've been ribbing him all day, took a leap. They said, you know, I think there's this place that we could create for students. It could be awesome. Is it risky? Yes. Can I promise you it'll work? No. And now Adam and all of these incredible faculty have created this space where students do these amazing things. It was the leap. And our students leap every time they enroll in this program. Let's face it, you chose to come into a program that likely creates more work, significant frustration, lots of unknown, lots of exploration with no outcome that you know is certain. Yet you took a leap. So for me, this program is all about leaping, and that's what gives me hope. Now, of course, your leap led to many, many accomplishments. No question about it. We've heard about many of them. As you have explored, aspired, and led, you've inspired us. I hope you hear that. You've infused us with tremendous energy. You've changed the college in so many ways it would be difficult to list them. And you've really made the world a better place. I am not exaggerating about that. So today and this week and next week, when we celebrate accomplishment, I ask that we also celebrate that you have the courage, the bravery, the strength, and the chutzpah to leap. I can't promise you that every leap will end up on a beautiful spring day in a white tent with some pretty tough breezes coming through. It doesn't always end up perfectly, but what I can promise you is that every leap is worth it, and every leap is all full of hope, and without leap, there's no accomplishment. I want you to know that we are incredibly proud of you. I shared with someone earlier today that every once in a while, we, meaning all of us, will get an email from a student who says, you know, my name is blank and you might not remember me, but do you think you could, or whatever? I promise you we will remember you. If you need anything from anybody here, we will be here. We are very, very proud of you. As you heard today, we are very, very grateful. Thank you for being our beacons of hope. Thanks.
Thank you, President Charlier. Now that the closing is over, we have officially ended the program, which means I can open up the bag under the podium. For the record, this is absolutely not what it looks like. And because Dr. Charlier is finished speaking, it is perfectly legal to have on state property. And when it was at our house, it was much easier to do. Could I have 3 people come to the stage for a brief recognition? Dr. Kyle Brown, Kari Frisch, and Kate Porter, where did you go? Come on up. So for those of you who don't know the story, these are bottles of vinegar that are in no way at all, in any way, alcoholic. And they were certainly not made by my family, and they certainly haven't been winning all kinds of awards all over the state of Minnesota. And the people who are going to receive some of this today won't actually need them at all. But I want to point out a couple things. This really was easier when we were at home. Kari Frisch, not only one of my closest friends, but someone who will stand up every single time and model what being in an honors program looks like. I think it's important that we say to her that we appreciate her work, and so this rather bent up certificate, the what's in the bottle is better, says the following. The Central Lakes College Honors Program recognizes Kari Frisch for outstanding service to the honors program and its students, and for crafting a future of excellence at Central Lakes College. Now, these other 2 certificates, I just make them big because I think it's better. We've never given these away before. Some of you know that I will be on sabbatical next year, and there are 2 people who've decided that filling those shoes would be fun. And that includes Kyle Brown and Kate Porter. So their certificates say something different. The Central Lakes College Honors Program recognizes Kyle Brown and Kate Porter for anticipated outstanding service to the honors program as interim coordinator and for crafting a future of excellence at Central Lakes College. We don't know if they're going to need what's in these bottles or not, but let's just say it's an antidote. Thank you very much. That concludes the 2024 Spring Celebration. We'll be back here on May 7th, 2025, if any of you would like to join us. I don't know what Kyle and Kate will provide for dessert, but if Will over there can wave at us, he's been working on what he's serving up over there for the last month, And Honors Composition 2 students, if you can help get it out to the audience before it melts, that would be super. Please make sure it doesn't stay here because it will absolutely not last. I warn you, it's not on fire, but it is frozen. Thank you everybody for coming.